The attacking ships moved like shadows through space. They came from tears that opened in the emptiness between stars. These black ships absorbed light instead of reflecting it. Strange marks covered their hulls. The symbols seemed to move when anyone looked directly at them. The enemy fired without sending any messages first. Both the human ship Horizon and the Lumidian vessel shook under the attack. "The Void Dominion," Zaraviel explained, as both ships tried emergency escape moves. "They eat worlds. They take all resources and life. My people have been at war with them for many lifetimes." As the Horizon trembled under enemy fire, Captain Laura Peters made a quick decision that would change human history forever. Instead of running back to Earth with a warning about this new threat, she ordered her ship to protect the damaged Lumidian vessel. "All weapons, target the lead enemy ship," she commanded. "Give the Lumidian vessel cover to repair their engines." The weapons officer looked uncertain. "Captain, we don't know if our weapons will even affect their shields." "We have to try," Captain Peters said firmly. "This could be the beginning of an important friendship between our peoples." The Horizon's laser cannons fired at the closest enemy ship. The beams seemed to dim as they hit the black hull, but the ship slowed its approach. It had some effect, the weapons officer reported with surprise. Zaraviel touched a control on her wrist device. "I have adjusted your weapon frequency. It will work better now." Sure enough, the next volley of fire caused visible damage to the enemy vessel. But there were dozens more ships approaching. During the battle, Olivia found herself trapped in a damaged section of the Horizon with Zaraviel. The alien had come aboard to help coordinate defense plans. As emergency walls sealed around them and life support systems failed, the alien made a surprising statement. "Our species can work together," she said, pressing a crystal device into Olivia's hand. "This has technology knowledge that could save both our peoples. If I die here, part of my mind will transfer into it. You must live to deliver it." When Olivia asked why the Lumidians would share such valuable information with humans, Zaraviel's multifaceted eyes seemed to soften. "Because in all my studies of your kind, I have learned that humans have something we have nearly lost: the ability to love beyond reason, to sacrifice for others without calculation. Your species feels with a strength that could reawaken what my people have forgotten." As oxygen levels dropped and the Void Dominion ships surrounded them, Zaraviel's crystal crown began to glow. "There is one way we might survive," she whispered, reaching for Olivia's hand. Zaraviel placed her slender purple fingers against Olivia's temples. The crystal structures on the alien's head detached slightly and touched Olivia's skin. A strange tingling sensation spread through Olivia's body. "What are you doing?" she gasped. "Creating a bond," Zaraviel said. "My people once used this to share knowledge and strength. It has not been done with another species before. It might not work, or it might change us both." "Will it hurt?" Olivia asked. "I do not know," Zaraviel admitted. "But without it, we will surely die here." Olivia took a deep breath of the thinning air. "Do it." The crystal pieces on Zaraviel's temples glowed brightly. The alien princess closed her eyes and began humming a strange melody. The crystals detached completely and adhered to Olivia's skin, creating a connection between them. Pain shot through Olivia's head. She would have screamed, but she had no breath left. Images flooded her mind: alien landscapes with crystal oceans, cities built of light, stars seen from unfamiliar skies. She felt herself falling into an endless well of memories that were not her own. At the same time, Zaraviel experienced a rush of human emotions and memories. She saw Olivia as a child, running through summer rain. She felt the sting of Olivia's first heartbreak, the joy of graduation day, the wonder of seeing alien planets for the first time. The intensity of human emotion was overwhelming. Outside their sealed section, the battle raged. The Horizon's crew fought bravely against impossible odds. Captain Peters ordered all power to weapons and shields, leaving life support at minimum levels throughout the ship. The Lumidian vessel, partially repaired, rejoined the fight. Its light-based weapons sliced through one of the Void Dominion ships. But more enemy vessels appeared from the space tears. "We can't hold them off much longer," the first officer told Captain Peters. and we've lost contact with Lieutenant Grant and the Lumidian emissary. Send a rescue team to their location, the captain ordered. Cut through the bulkheads if necessary. But, Captain, the hull integrity in that section, that's an order, Peters said firmly. No one gets left behind. While rescue teams worked to reach them, Olivia and Zaraviel remained locked in their mental connection. The process that should have taken moments stretched into minutes as their different biologies struggled to find balance. Inside their joined minds, they communicated without words. Your people have lived so long, Olivia thought with wonder. Your people feel so deeply, Zaraviel responded. We had forgotten such intensity was possible. As their consciousness mingled, something unexpected happened. The alien knowledge of light manipulation merged with Olivia's human emotional intensity. Energy began to build around their joined bodies. The rescue team finally cut through the sealed bulkhead. Emergency air rushed into the compartment. What they found left them speechless. Olivia and Zaraviel floated in the center of the room, surrounded by a bubble of luminescent energy. The human and the alien were unconscious but alive. More shocking, Olivia's eyes, now half open, had the same multifaceted quality as Zaraviel's, and faint crystal patterns had begun forming at her temples. The alien's skin had changed too, with a slight pink color now visible beneath the purple. Medi, team to Section 4 immediately, the rescue leader called into her communicator. And, you better bring the captain too. You're not going to believe this. They were carefully moved to the medical bay on a rescue ship. The Horizon had taken much damage to remain operational. As they were transferred, the bubble of energy surrounding them remained intact, protecting them from harm. In the medical bay, doctors were baffled by the changes in both patients. Olivia's vital signs were stable, but her brain activity was off. The charts. Strange crystal formations had spread from her temples along her hairline. Zaraviel's readings were equally confusing, showing signs of both Lumidian and human biological patterns. I've never seen anything like this, the chief medical officer told Captain Peters. They appear to be merging somehow. Will they survive? The captain asked. I think so. In fact, that energy field they're generating seems to be healing them both. Throughout the ship, systems began to stabilize. The emergency lights switched back to normal. Sensors showed the Void Dominion ships pulling back, regrouping at a distance. They've stopped attacking, the first officer reported. But they haven't left the system. Keep weapons ready, Captain Peters ordered. And get me a secure channel to Earth Command. They need to know what we're facing. In the medical bay, Olivia and Zaraviel finally regained consciousness. They woke at exactly the same moment, their eyes opening in perfect synchronization. When Olivia spoke, her voice carried a slight musical quality similar to Zaraviel's. They're vulnerable to emotional energy, she said without preamble. Captain Peters stepped closer to the bed. What do you mean? The Void Dominion, Zaraviel explained. They have evolved beyond emotion. They consume worlds seeking to fill the emptiness inside them. But they never can, Olivia continued as if they shared one mind. The emotional resonance from our bond disrupted their systems. They've never encountered anything like it. Are you saying your connection is a weapon? The captain asked. Olivia and Zaraviel looked at each other, their altered eyes reflecting the same realization. Not just a weapon, Zaraviel said softly. A beginning. As they recovered in the medical bay of the rescue vessel bound for Earth, the implications became clear. They were now permanently linked, each carrying aspects of the other's biology and consciousness. And through their bond, they discovered something that offered hope against the Void Dominion. The emotional intensity of humanity, combined with Lumidian technology, created a unique energy signature that disrupted the enemy's systems. My people believed emotional detachment was progress, Zaraviel explained to Earth military officials when they reached the home planet. We were wrong. Your species' emotional nature is not primitive. It is powerful in ways we had forgotten. The bond between Olivia and Zaraviel grew stronger each day. They found they could communicate without speaking, sharing thoughts and feelings across any distance. More concerning to the medical teams, the physical changes continued. The crystal formations on Olivia's temples grew more pronounced, while Zaravel's skin continued to take on human characteristics, yet neither seemed worried about these changes. In fact, they embraced them. During a quiet moment between endless strategic meetings with Earth's military leaders as they stood looking at Earth from an orbital station, Zaravel turned to Olivia. Her multifaceted eyes shimmered with an emotion that needed no translation. "I wish I could marry someone like you, human," she whispered. The connection between a human mind and a Lumidian mind was never supposed to be possible. Yet in that desperate moment when Zaravel started the emergency link, something amazing happened. The crystal structures on her head came off and stuck to Olivia's skin, creating a bridge between their minds. The feeling was overwhelming. Memories, feelings, and knowledge flowed between them like a flood breaking through a dam. Olivia experienced thousands of years of Lumidian history in seconds. How they evolved from crystal oceans, how they mastered light-based technology, and how they slowly lost their emotional connections as they chased technological perfection. She also learned Zaravel's secret mission, to find a solution to her people's decreasing ability to feel emotions, which had made them weak against the Void Dominion's mental attacks. In return, Zaravel experienced the power of human emotion, Olivia's childhood memories of summer storms, her first broken heart, the joy of scientific discovery, and the complex bonds of human relationships. The alien princess was amazed by the richness of it all, especially how humans could hope even when things seemed impossible. When rescue teams finally cut through the walls, they found the two unconscious but alive, surrounded by a protective bubble of glowing energy. More surprisingly, Olivia's eyes now had the same many-sided quality as Zaravel's, and faint crystal patterns had started forming at her temples. The Lumidian skin had become more human-like, with a light pink color beneath the purple. As they recovered in the medical bay of a rescue ship heading for Earth, the meaning became clear. They were now permanently connected, each carrying parts of the other's biology and mind. And through their bond, they discovered something that offered hope against the Void Dominion. The emotional intensity of humanity, combined with Lumidian technology, created a unique energy that disrupted the enemy systems. "My people thought emotional detachment was evolution," Zaravel explained to military officials when they reached Earth. "We were wrong. Your species' emotional nature is not primitive. It is powerful in ways we had forgotten." Meanwhile, the bond between Olivia and Zaravel grew deeper in unexpected ways. During quiet moments between strategy meetings, as they looked at Earth from orbit, Zaravel whispered words that would change everything. "I wish I could marry someone like you, human." These words meant more than just romance. In Lumidian culture, bonding was sacred, a joining of minds and purposes that went far beyond human ideas of marriage. What Zaravel was suggesting was an alliance not just between two people but potentially between two species. Olivia touched the crystal formations that now grew from her own temples. They pulsed with light that matched the rhythm of her heartbeat. "What exactly does marriage mean to your people?" she asked. "It is called the Luminous Accord," Zaravel explained. "Two beings choose to join their consciousness permanently. They remain individuals, but they are also something new together, greater than the sum of their parts. It was common in the ancient days of my people, before we started to lose our emotional connections. And you want this with me?" Olivia asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Zaravel's crystal crown glowed with warm colors. "The emergency bond we formed is only a shadow of what a true accord could be. But yes, I would choose you. Your mind calls to mine in ways I cannot explain." Olivia was silent for a long moment. The idea was both frightening and exciting. To be permanently bonded to another being, an alien being no less, was beyond anything she had ever imagined. "I need time to think about this," she finally said. "Of course," Zaravel replied. "Such a decision should not be made in haste." Their conversation was interrupted by an urgent call from the Defense Command Center. The Void Dominion fleet had been detected approaching the outer edges of the solar system. Earth had only days to prepare. In the command center, military leaders from around the world gathered to discuss defense plans. Scientists had been working day and night to understand the technology contained in Zara Vile's crystal device. They had made progress, but not enough. The device contains plans for a defensive system that uses emotional energy as its power source, explained Dr. Kate Morris, Earth's top quantum physicist. The Lumidians developed the theory, but they could never make it work because their emotional capacity had decreased too much. Humans, however, produce exactly the kind of emotional energy the system needs. How long would it take to build this system? Asked General Alan West. Dr. Morris shook her head. With our current technology? Years. We don't have the materials or the knowledge to create the crystal matrices it requires. All eyes turned to Zaravale and Olivia, who had been listening quietly. There might be another way, Olivia said slowly. She looked at Zaravale, who nodded slightly. Our bond has already shown that it can disrupt void dominion systems, Olivia continued. If we could amplify that effect, create a larger field of emotional resonance. You're talking about using yourselves as weapons, General West said, with a frown. We're talking about using our connection as a shield, Zaravale corrected. If we can generate enough emotional resonance, we might be able to create a barrier around Earth that the void dominion cannot penetrate. The room erupted in discussion. Some military leaders thought the plan was too risky, relying on untested alien technology and a bond they didn't understand. Others saw it as their only hope against a technologically superior enemy. In the end, it was decided that while conventional defenses would be prepared, Olivia and Zaravale would be given resources to attempt their plan. A special lab was set up for them with both Earth and Lumidian technology. As they worked, the bond between them continued to deepen. They found they could share not just thoughts but skills. Olivia discovered she could operate Lumidian technology with ease, while Zaravale gained a deeper understanding of human science. The changes in us are accelerating, Olivia noted one evening as she examined her reflection. The crystal formations had spread further along her hairline, and her eyes were now completely like Zaravale's, large, many-sided, and a deep purple color. Are you afraid? Zaravale asked. Olivia considered the question. Strangely, no. It feels right somehow, like I'm becoming more complete, not less myself. Zaravale smiled. Her smile looked more human now, with subtle changes to her facial structure. That is how the luminous accord is meant to feel. Not a loss of self, but an expansion. Their work progressed quickly. Using their unique abilities, they created a prototype resonance amplifier, a device that could take the emotional energy from their bond and project it outward as a defensive field. Initial tests were promising. The field could disrupt void dominion communication signals that Earth sensors had detected, but it wasn't strong enough yet to protect the entire planet. We need more power, Olivia said with frustration after another test. The field barely extends beyond this room. Zaravale was quiet for a moment, her crystal crown pulsing with deep thought. There is a way, she finally said, but it would require us to complete the luminous accord, to fully join our minds. What would that mean for us? Olivia asked. We would still be ourselves, but we would also be something new. The barrier between our minds would dissolve completely. All memories, all thoughts, all feelings would be shared, and the physical changes would likely accelerate. Would we be able to separate again? To go back to being just human and just Lumidian? Zaravale's crown dimmed slightly. No. The accord is permanent. That is why it is not entered into lightly. Olivia walked to the window and looked out at the earth below. Somewhere down there, her family was going about their lives, unaware of the danger approaching from the stars. Could she give up her humanity to save them? To save everyone? But as she thought about it, she realized she had already begun to change. She was no longer fully human, just as Zaravale was no longer fully Lumidian. They were becoming something, in between something new And the strange thing was, she didn't mind. Being connected to Zaravel felt right in a way she couldn't explain. The alien's mind complemented her own, filling spaces she hadn't known were empty. "If we do this," Olivia said slowly, "what happens to us after? If we survive, if we save Earth, what then?" "I do not know," Zaravel admitted. "No Lumidian has ever bonded with a human before. We are in uncharted territory." Olivia turned back to face the alien princess. "Will your people accept what you've done? Accept us?" "Some will not," Zaravel said honestly. "But others will see the value in what we have created. A bridge between our species. A new path forward." They were interrupted by alarms blaring throughout the facility. The Void Dominion fleet had accelerated. They would reach Earth within hours, not days as previously estimated. General West burst into their lab. "We're out of time. Whatever you're going to do, it needs to happen now." Olivia and Zaravel looked at each other. In that moment, no words were needed. They both knew what had to be done. "We need to be taken to the highest point on the station," Zaravel told the general. "And we need everyone to clear a 100-meter radius around us." "What are you planning?" he asked. "We're going to complete our bond," Olivia explained. "The luminous accord. It should create an emotional resonance field strong enough to protect Earth, at least temporarily." "And the risks to you?" Olivia and Zaravel exchanged another look. As Earth prepared for possible invasion by the Void Dominion, Olivia and Zaravel worked with a special team to understand the meaning of their bond and the technology in the crystal device. Dr. Kate Morris, Earth's best quantum physicist, made an important discovery. The device contained plans for a defense system that used emotional energy as a power source. "The Lumidians developed the theory," Dr. Morris explained to military leaders, "but they could never make it work because their emotional capacity had become too weak. Humans, however, make exactly the kind of emotional energy the system needs." The implications were amazing. A defense network powered by human emotional responses could potentially shield the entire solar system from the Void Dominion. But the technical challenges were enormous, and intelligence reports suggested the enemy fleet was already on its way. Meanwhile, Zaravel revealed another secret. Her royal status was not just political. The crystal structures that formed her crown were actually part of a biological neural network that connected all Lumidians. As a first emissary, she was one of few remaining Lumidians able to form new connections within that network, which explained why she had been able to bond with Olivia when such a thing should have been impossible. "My people called me defective," she confessed one night as they worked late in the laboratory. "I experienced emotions too strongly, remained too connected to our ancestral ways. They sent me to study humans because they considered it a suitable task for one so primitive." Olivia reached out, her fingers tracing the delicate crystals that now adorned both their temples. "They were wrong," she said simply. "What they saw as a flaw might save both our species." The military scientists studied the bond between Olivia and Zaravel with great interest. They ran tests, scanned their brains, and monitored the energy field that now constantly surrounded them. They discovered that this field expanded when the two were in close proximity, and grew even stronger when they shared intense emotions. "Your connection is generating a unique form of energy," Dr. Morris explained. "It's unlike anything we've ever recorded. The closest comparison would be certain quantum states where particles remain connected regardless of distance." "Quantum entanglement," Olivia said, remembering her physics training. "Yes, but on a biological level," Dr. Morris confirmed. "And the interesting thing is, this energy signature seems to disrupt the Void Dominion systems. The data from your encounter on the horizon shows their weapons became less effective when targeted at areas near you two." As they raced to build a defense system based on this discovery, the unique nature of Olivia and Zaravel's bond revealed another unexpected development. When in proximity, they could amplify each other's abilities. Olivia found she could manipulate Lumidian technology intuitively, while Zaravel experienced human emotions with greater clarity and purpose. During one test, Olivia was able to activate a Lumidian crystal matrix that even Zaravel had struggled to control. The matrix expanded, creating a dome of shimmering energy around them. "How did you do that?" Dr. Morris asked in amazement. Olivia looked as surprised as everyone else. "I'm not sure. I just felt what it needed." Zara Vale's eyes glowed with excitement. "The crystal matrices respond to emotional resonance. My people lost the ability to provide the right kind of emotional energy to fully activate them. But Olivia's human emotions, filtered through our bond, create the perfect frequency." This discovery led to a daring plan. Rather than waiting for the Void Dominion to reach Earth, they would take the fight to the enemy, using a specially modified ship that could channel their combined abilities. But the mission would require them to deepen their bond to unprecedented levels, with unknown consequences for both. Earth's best engineers worked with Lumidian technology experts to create this vessel. They named it the Luminous Accord, after the deep bond that Zara Vale had described, the permanent joining of minds that was sacred in ancient Lumidian culture. The ship was unlike anything humans had built before. Its hull incorporated living crystal matrices that responded to neural commands from its bonded pilots. At its core was the emotional resonance engine, a technology that converted the intensity of human emotion into defensive and offensive capabilities. As the ship neared completion, Olivia and Zara Vale spent hours each day in the neural interface chamber, learning how to connect with the vessel's systems. The process was exhausting, requiring intense concentration and perfect synchronization between their already linked minds. "The ship needs more," Zara Vale said after another failed attempt to bring the main systems online. "Our current bond is strong, but it's not enough to fully power the emotional resonance engine." Olivia knew what Zara Vale was suggesting. They had discussed it before: the completion of the Luminous Accord, the permanent and total joining of their minds. So far they had maintained some separation, some privacy in their thoughts. The complete accord would remove all barriers between them. "If we do this," Olivia said slowly, "what happens to us? Will I still be me? Will you still be you?" Zara Vale took her hands. The crystal formations on their temples glowed in matching patterns. "We will be ourselves, but also something more." In the ancient records, those who completed the accord spoke of it not as a loss of self, but as an expansion, two perspectives becoming one greater whole. Olivia looked out the viewport at Earth, blue and peaceful against the blackness of space. Somewhere down there was her family, her friends, everyone she had ever known. Would they recognize what she was becoming? Would she recognize herself? "There's no guarantee we'll survive this," Olivia warned as they prepared for the neural integration that would allow them to pilot the experimental vessel. Zara Vale's many-faceted eyes shimmered with an emotion that needed no translation. "To save your world, our worlds, I would risk everything." The completion of the Luminous Accord was scheduled for the day before the mission launch. The ceremony was simple but solemn. In a quiet chamber aboard the space station, with only Dr. Morris and General West as witnesses, Olivia and Zara Vale sat facing each other. "The process should take approximately 1 Earth hour," Zara Vale explained to the observers. "During this time, our consciousness will fully merge. The physical changes that have already begun will accelerate and stabilize. When it is complete, we will be permanently bonded." "And you're both sure about this?" General West asked, his face serious. "There's no going back?" Olivia smiled. The crystal formations on her temples had grown more pronounced in recent days, and her eyes were now almost identical to Zara Vale's, large, many-faceted, and a deep purple color. "We're sure, General. This is not just about the mission, it feels right." Zara Vale nodded in agreement. Her once purely lavender skin now showed hints of human coloring, and her features had softened, becoming a blend of human and Lumidian characteristics. "In my culture, there is a saying: the path reveals itself to those who are ready to walk it. We are ready." With that, they reached for each other's hands. As their fingers intertwined, the crystal structures on their temples began to glow, brighter than ever before. Tendrils of light extended from the crystals, reaching toward each other like living things. Dr. Morris gasped as the tendrils connected, forming a web of light that surrounded both Olivia and Zaraviel. The web pulsed with colors that seemed impossible, colors that human eyes had never seen before. Inside the web of light, Olivia and Zaraviel experienced a complete merging of consciousness. All barriers between their minds dissolved. Memories flowed freely between them, not just fragments as before, but entire lifetimes of experience. Olivia felt the weight of Zaraviel's centuries of existence, the loneliness of being different among her own kind, the hope that had driven her to seek out humanity. Zaraviel felt the intensity of Olivia's shorter but emotionally richer life, the joy of family bonds, the pain of loss, the wonder of scientific discovery. As their minds joined completely, something unexpected happened. Their separate consciousnesses didn't disappear. Instead, they expanded. It was as if they had both been living in small rooms and suddenly found themselves in a vast cathedral. They were still themselves, but with a new perspective, a shared understanding that transcended what either could have achieved alone. The physical changes accelerated as well. The crystal formations on their temples expanded, forming delicate crowns on both their heads. Their skin tones shifted, settling on a pale lavender with subtle human undertones. Their eyes remained multifaceted, but took on a blended color, part earth sky blue, part Lumidian amethyst. When the light finally faded, Dr. Morris and General West stared in amazement at the two beings before them. They were clearly still Olivia and Zaraviel, yet also something new, a perfect synthesis of human and Lumidian. "How do you feel?" Dr. Morris asked hesitantly. They answered in perfect unison, their voices harmonizing in a way that sent shivers down the observers' spines. "Complete." Over the next 24 hours, they underwent final tests and preparations for the mission. Their connection to the ship exceeded all expectations. The luminous accord responded to their thoughts instantly, its systems coming online, with a smoothness that amazed the engineering team. "It's as if the ship was built for us," Olivia said during the final briefing. The prototype vessel, named Luminous Accord, was the best example of human-Lumidian teamwork. Its hull contained living crystal structures that responded to the mental commands of its bonded pilots. At its core was the emotional resonance engine, a technology that turned the power of human emotion into defensive and offensive abilities. As Olivia and Zaraviel underwent the final bonding process to connect fully with the ship, they experienced each other's lives with complete openness. Olivia felt Zaraviel's centuries of existence, her growing disappointment with Lumidian emotional detachment, and her secret hope that humanity might offer salvation. Zaraviel, in turn, experienced the beautiful intensity of human connection, family, bonds, friendships, and the capacity for love that had shaped Olivia's life. When the Void Dominion fleet appeared at the edge of the solar system, the Luminous Accord was waiting. What followed was not just a battle, but a revelation. As Olivia and Zaraviel channeled their combined consciousness through the ship, the emotional resonance engine generated defenses unlike anything either species had created before. Waves of glowing energy flowed from the vessel, disrupting the Void Dominion systems and revealing a surprising truth. The enemy was not what they had seemed. Behind their frightening technology and relentless advance was a species driven by profound emptiness. Beings who had evolved beyond emotion entirely and now sought to consume the emotional energy of other species to fill the emptiness within themselves. "They're not evil," Zaraviel realized with shock. "They're starving." In that moment of understanding, Olivia made a decision that went beyond military strategy. Through their bond and the ship's systems, she projected not aggression, but compassion. A focused beam of pure emotional resonance directed at the enemy command vessel. The effect was immediate and unexpected. The Void Dominion ship stopped moving, their systems temporarily overwhelmed by an energy they had sought to consume but never expected to receive freely. In that pause, communication became possible for the first time. Luminous Accord to Void, Dominion command vessel, Olivia and Zaraviel transmitted together. their thoughts flowing as one. We offer understanding, not destruction. Let us speak. For a long moment, there was no response. The black ships hung motionless against the stars, their strange symbols shifting more slowly now. Then, a transmission came through, not in words, but in images and sensations. The Void Dominion communicated differently, through direct neural impulses rather than language. What Olivia and Zaraviel received was a flood of memories. A species that had once been much like the Lumidians, advancing their technology to the point where emotion seemed unnecessary. But unlike the Lumidians, who had merely suppressed their emotional capacity, the Void Dominion had engineered it out of their biology completely. Only afterward did they realize their mistake. Without emotions, existence became meaningless. They had no joy, no love, no purpose beyond simple survival. They discovered that they could temporarily fill this void by absorbing the emotional energy of other sentient beings. At first they tried to do this peacefully, but their appearance and their hunger frightened other species, who attacked them on sight. Thus began the cycle of consumption and destruction that had earned them their fearsome reputation. They were not evil, they were empty, and in their emptiness they had forgotten how to be anything else. "We can help you," Olivia and Zaraviel transmitted. "We have found a way to combine emotional capacity with advanced technology. You don't need to consume whole worlds to survive." Another pause, then another transmission of images. The Void Dominion was skeptical. Many of their kind had existed without emotions for so long they couldn't imagine another way of being. But some, particularly their leaders, remembered what it was like to feel, and they yearned for that connection again. "Let us show you," Olivia and Zaraviel said. Using the luminous accord systems, they sent a carefully controlled pulse of emotional resonance to the command ship, not overwhelming, this time, but gentle, like offering a small taste of food to someone who has been starving. They shared the feeling of their bond, the sense of completion and purpose they had found together. The response was immediate. The command ship moved closer, its black hull seeming less light-absorbing now, showing hints of reflection. More transmissions. Came questions, curiosity, cautious hope. For the next several hours, Olivia and Zaraviel remained in orbit at the edge of the solar system, communicating with the Void Dominion. They learned that the enemy fleet had come to Earth not just to consume its emotional energy, but because they had detected the unique resonance of the human-Lumidian bond. Such a thing had never existed before, and they were drawn to its power. "You don't need to destroy to receive," Olivia and Zaraviel explained. "We can teach you to develop technology that allows for emotional sharing without harm." As they spoke, an idea began to form in their joined mind, an unprecedented three-way accord. The Void Dominion could be sustained by controlled exposure to emotional resonance without consuming entire civilizations. Humanity could provide this resonance through technology developed from the luminous accord, and the Lumidians, with their advanced understanding of consciousness, could create the interfaces needed to make such exchanges safe for all parties. They transmitted this proposal to both the Void Dominion command ship and to Earth. The response from both sides was cautious, but hopeful. After centuries of conflict with the Lumidians and the near destruction of countless other species, the idea of peace seemed almost too good to be true for the Void Dominion. And for humanity, still reeling from the revelation that they were not alone in the universe, the prospect of becoming part of a galactic alliance was both thrilling and frightening. "We need to meet in person," Olivia and Zaraviel decided. All three species face to face. The location chosen was a neutral space station in orbit around Earth's moon. As representatives of the three species gathered to discuss the proposed accord, Olivia and Zaraviel stood as living proof of what connection between different kinds could achieve. Their bond had evolved beyond its original purpose, becoming something unique in the history of all three civilizations, a perfect synthesis of human emotional depth and Lumidian consciousness. The Void Dominion representatives were surprising in appearance. They were tall, slender beings with skin so black it seemed to absorb light. Their eyes were colorless, reflecting whatever was before them like perfect mirrors. They moved with precise, careful gestures, as if every movement was calculated. Despite their fearsome reputation, there was something almost childlike in their curiosity as they studied the humans and Lumidians around them. The negotiations were complex. The Void Dominion, used to taking what they needed, had to learn concepts, like consent and exchange. The humans, still new to the galactic community, had to overcome their fear of the unknown. And the Lumidians, set in their ways after millennia of civilization, had to accept that their emotional detachment had been a mistake, not evolution. Through it all, Olivia and Zaravel served as bridges between the species. Their unique perspective, being both human and Lumidian yet something more, allowed them to understand all sides and find common ground. The emotional resonance technology can be adapted, they explained, showing holographic models of their proposals. Humans naturally produce more emotional energy than they need. This excess can be harmlessly channeled to sustain the Void Dominion without diminishing human experience. In fact, the process could enhance it, creating a symbiotic relationship. And the Lumidians? Asked a human representative. My people have been moving toward emotional extinction for generations, Zaravel said. This accord offers us a chance to reconnect with what we have lost. By helping to create the interfaces between humans and the Void Dominion, we can also relearn emotional connection ourselves. The negotiations continued for days. There were setbacks and misunderstandings, moments when it seemed the accord might fall apart. But each time, Olivia and Zaravel found a way to bring the parties back together, their own bond serving as a constant reminder of what was possible. Finally, a framework was agreed upon. The Luminous Accord, named after the ship that had made first peaceful contact with the Void Dominion, would establish protocols for emotional energy sharing between the three species. Research centers would be built in neutral space where scientists from all three civilizations could work together, and a council with representatives from each species would oversee the implementation of the accord. As the representatives prepared to sign the historic agreement, a Void Dominion leader approached Olivia and Zaravel. Through their translator device, it communicated a simple message. We have existed in emptiness for so long we forgot there was another way to be. You have shown us possibility again. For this we are grateful. The word seemed new to them, as if they were relearning the concept of gratitude after eons without it. Later, in a quiet moment before the signing ceremony, as they stood together, looking out at Earth from the space station, Zaravel took Olivia's hand. The crystal structures on their temples glowed in harmonic resonance. When I first said I wished to marry someone like you, she said softly, I didn't understand what such a bond truly meant. Now I do. Olivia Grant checked her tools one more time. As the ship's main scientist who studied alien life, she was always careful. The ship called Horizon moved slowly around a distant star system named Kepler 186. Olivia did not expect today to be different from any other day. She thought she would collect small life samples and study plants. Meeting intelligent aliens was not part of her plan. Olivia looked out the window at the blackness of space. The stars were bright against the darkness. She loved this view. It reminded her why she had left Earth to explore space. She wanted to find life on other planets. So far, she had only found tiny organisms and simple plants. Lieutenant Grant, please come to the bridge right away, the ship's computer announced. Olivia put down her sample case and hurried through the ship's corridors. When she arrived at the bridge, everyone was silent. They all stared at the main screen. What is it? She asked. Captain Laura Peters pointed at the screen. Look. A strange ship had appeared next to them. It was unlike anything Olivia had ever seen. The ship seemed to be made of flowing glass that changed colors in the starlight. It gave off pulses of blue-violet light that were almost hypnotic. Is it trying to communicate? Olivia asked. We think so, said the communications officer. The computer is trying to understand the signals. Suddenly the screen changed. A figure appeared as a hologram on the bridge. Everyone gasped. The alien stood tall and graceful. Its skin was light purple and seemed to glow from within. Its eyes, were large and many-sided like a dragonfly's, deep purple in color. Crystal-like structures grew from its head like a crown. "I am Zara-Vael, first emissary of the Lumidian Collective," the alien said. Its voice was musical and strange, but somehow everyone understood perfectly. "We have been watching your species from far away. Your strength interests us." Olivia stepped forward, drawn to the alien. "I am Lieutenant Olivia Grant, xenobiologist of the Earth vessel Horizon. We come in peace." Zara-Vael's many-sided eyes seemed to focus on Olivia. "You study life forms. I too am a student of other species." Captain Peters joined the conversation. "Why have you made contact with us now?" "Your species is at a turning point," Zara-Vael said. "You are beginning to explore beyond your home system. We wish to meet you before—" She stopped suddenly. "Before what?" Olivia asked. "Before others find you," Zara-Vael said quietly. The captain invited Zara-Vael to come aboard the Horizon. After safety checks, the alien transferred to the human ship. Seeing the Lumidian in person was even more striking. Zara-Vael moved with flowing grace. The crystal crown on her head changed colors with her emotions. Olivia was assigned to guide Zara-Vael around the ship. As they walked, the alien asked many questions about humans. She seemed especially interested in human relationships. "Your people form strong bonds," Zara-Vael observed. "You connect deeply with each other." "Yes, we do," Olivia said. "Don't your people have close relationships?" Zara-Vael's crystal crown dimmed slightly. "Once, long ago, as we advanced our technology, we lost something. Emotions became less important, less strong." Olivia felt sad for the alien. "That's too bad. Emotions are what make life worth living for humans. This is why your species fascinates me," Zara-Vael said. She reached out a slender hand and almost touched Olivia's face, but stopped. "You feel everything so strongly." Over the next few days, Olivia spent much time with Zara-Vael. The alien shared information about her people. The Lumidians had evolved from crystal oceans on a distant world. They had mastered light-based technology thousands of years ago. They could travel between stars through light folds in space, but as they advanced, they had slowly lost their emotional connections. "I was chosen for this mission because I am different," Zara-Vael told Olivia one evening as they looked at stars from the observation deck. "I feel emotions more strongly than most of my people. They consider this a flaw." "I don't think it's a flaw," Olivia said. "I think it's beautiful." Zara-Vael's crown glowed with a warm pink light. "You are kind, Olivia Grant." What Zara-Vael didn't tell Olivia was that she had specifically asked to meet this human ship. She had been watching Olivia for months through long-range sensors. Something about the human scientist had caught her attention. The way Olivia's eyes lit up with discovery, the way she treated even the smallest life forms with respect. Zara-Vael found herself drawn to this human in ways she couldn't explain. On the 5th day of the visit, alarms suddenly rang throughout the ship. Captain Peters called everyone to the bridge. "We're picking up strange energy readings from the far side of the system," the science officer reported. Zara-Vael's crystal crown suddenly pulsed with bright red light. Her face showed clear fear despite her alien features. "What is it?" Olivia asked. "They have found us," Zara-Vael whispered. "You must leave this system immediately." "Who has found us?" Captain Peters demanded. "The Void Dominion," Zara-Vael said, her voice shaking. "They destroy worlds. They take all resources and life. My people have been fighting them for generations," the sensors officer interrupted. "Captain, multiple objects just appeared at the edge of our sensor range. They're moving toward us fast." On the screen, dark shapes appeared against the stars. The ships were huge and black, seeming to swallow light rather than reflect it. Strange symbols covered their hulls, symbols that hurt the eyes if you looked at them too long. "Raise shields," ordered Captain Peters. "Prepare for evasive maneuvers." "It's too late," Zara-Vael said. "They're already here." The first attack came without warning. Energy beams struck both the Horizon and Zara-Vael's ship. The lights flickered on the bridge. People were thrown to the floor. Return to your ship, Captain Peters told Zaraviel. Try to escape. We'll cover you. No, the alien said firmly. We must work together. I have technology that might help you defend yourselves. Another blast hit the ship. Damage reports came in from all decks. Hull breach on deck 4, someone shouted. That's near the science labs, Olivia realized with horror. Her research was there, years of work. I must get to your labs, Zaraviel said urgently. I can interface my technology with your computers. It may give us a chance. I'll take you, Olivia said. As they ran through the corridors, the ship shook with more attacks. Emergency lights flashed. Crew members rushed to repair stations. They reached the science section just as another hit rocked the ship. A support beam collapsed behind them. They were trapped. The ship's structural integrity is failing, Olivia said, checking a computer panel. This section will be sealed off soon. Zaraviel worked quickly, connecting a crystal device to Olivia's lab equipment. This contains knowledge that could save both our peoples. If I die here, part of my consciousness will transfer into it. You must survive to deliver it. Why would you share such valuable information with humans? Olivia asked. Zaraviel's many-sided eyes seemed to soften. She looked at Olivia in a way that made the human's heart beat faster. Because humans have something my people have almost lost, the ability to love deeply, to sacrifice for others without calculation. Your species feels with an intensity that might awaken what my people have forgotten. Another explosion rocked the ship. Warning alarms blared. The computer announced. Emergency bulkheads closing. Life support failing in Section 4. As the oxygen levels dropped and the enemy ships surrounded them, Zaraviel's crystal crown began to glow brightly. There is one way we might survive, she whispered, reaching for Olivia's hand.